Hey guys, welcome to Tone Bros. My name's Casey.
And I'm Colin. We're going to get started with our current topic of the day, which, Casey, take it away.
Alright, so Gibson has released another guitar.
Yep.
Another signature guitar.
But this one's different.
Oh, it's completely different. It's a Les Paul. So it's the Jason Isabel Red Eye.
It's just Isabel. You say Isabel. That's like a girl's name.
Isabel.
No, it's Isabel.
It has an A though.
Is there? I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Maybe I wrote it wrong. There's an A there.
Is there?
You
tell us, because we can't remember.
Gosh, dang it, I love him too.
He's great.
Yeah.
I thought it was Isabel.
You might be right. Maybe I've been writing an A in there. It doesn't matter. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The guy that we absolutely love.
Yeah.
I love you!
Yeah. His writing's anyway, we're not talking about him or his writing right now. We're talking about his Les Paul that he owns. Well, he's taking care of right now, right? A lot of people's owned it at this point. So it's the Red Eye Les Paul. Mm-hmm. You guys probably familiar with it. It's the one that had the old tagger in it.
Yeah.
So
hanging in the window.
It was hanging in the window, had the little tag on it. So a bunch of the Les Paul faded, but what was underneath that tag didn't fade. So it got nicknamed Red Eye.
Right.
So this is one of those real expensive Les Pauls again.
Yep.
$22,000.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, it's one of the ones. Wow,
just kidding.
That's nice.
That's nice.
So it's one of the ones with Brazilian rosewood fretboard, all that type of stuff. So just the Brazilian alone makes it really expensive. I think the standard Les Paul with a Brazilian fretboard is like 10 grand. So what's your thoughts on this current topic we've got here? This new current like Gibson Les Pauls with all this new stuff. I guess we're talking about this one specifically, but these new Les Pauls with the Brazilian.
You said $22,000?
$22,000.
That's nuts. You can buy a vintage 335 for like 60.
Yeah, you could buy like a 58, 59, 335 with the exact same pickups that was in a real like Les Paul, same tailpiece, same everything.
For 60.
For like 60.
70, somewhere around
I mean, that's triple the price. But
I understand.
But
so
I think the guy that's buying something for $22,000 probably is not blinking at 60.
I would think so. I mean, $22,000 for a guitar, that's nuts. Especially a brand new one. Like, you can get a Junior for $10,000.
Yeah.
And that's vintage.
Used to be able to get them a lot cheaper than that. Yeah, there's tons of stuff. Yeah, there's like real, like, I don't know. There's so many. I don't even want to go into it. Because honestly, it's a little frustrating that some of these new guitars, in my opinion, are so expensive. I know they're putting a lot into them. I know that Brazilian rosewood is hard to come by.
How much, here's a question. And this is kind of on topic. How much do you think it actually cost Gibson to make this guitar?
Oh.
Because you got to think somebody's like, really carving the neck. You got to think they're putting in.
You know what? I think it's a lot. I think it's a whole heck of a lot for this one. Because they're making it just like the original. They've got a little card.
Ballpark.
I don't know. Maybe 12?
12,000?
Maybe. If you think about research and development, they're scanning this Les Paul. They're paying people to make little tags that look the exact same way. I'm not saying the parts cost 12 grand. I'm saying by the time you pay the employees, labor, by the time you make all the little things, by the time you ship it out,
get the case.
I mean, there's so much. There's way more that goes into it rather than just making another Les Paul.
12,000?
Maybe not.
How many of these are made?
I don't know. It's another one of those limited runs, like all these are made.
Okay, I think that'll add to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's less guitars to spread out that cost too.
Yeah, that's what I mean too. Is like that's another reason why I said like 12 grand is because there's not a lot of them made, so they're very specific. They're probably handmade by one or two guys only that are doing it. There's Brazilian fretboards being used, so if you screw that up, you got a problem if you mess that fretboard up.
I mean, I get it. 22,000. I can't get over it.
Yeah, I wonder if this is like the Kirk Hammett Greenie, where you get to have dinner with him or something, right? Because they done that with that one.
This is too much.
It's too much for me. I don't know why we keep like going down this route. Like Gibson keeps pushing these so hard. I know they're selling them, but
I'm sure they're selling them. And you got collectors. Like, I'm not knocking anyone who has one because, if that's like this is all you can think about and whatever, and you got the money for it, I guess if people are paying for it, I guess that makes sense. But
It's worth whatever people will pay for it, right?
that's right. But it's not worth it to me.
No, it's not me either.
It's not worth it to me.
It's not me either. I struggle with just the Brazilian fretboard Les Pauls that are like 10 grand. It's not the signatures that are very specific like these, but they're Brazilian fretboards. I know that they're really expensive, but they're not made any different than the standard Les Paul reissues from what I understand. They're made the exact same. Literally the only difference is the material of the fretboard.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it shoots up like an extra, like, what, $3,000 to $4,000, give or take a little bit?
So what's this price going to be here in 20 years?
Oh, I don't even want to think about it. It's going to be a lot. But what's a real 59 going to be worth in 20 years? I guess 20 years ago, a 59, I mean, it was worth a lot of money, but it was not worth it was not worth as much money, but it wasn't dramatically cheaper than what it is now. Was it? You think in the year...
I've never been in the market for one. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
I just don't remember the 59 Les Pauls being way, way cheaper than what they are. Maybe they were $150 or something, but not $150, $150,000.
I was thinking probably around 200,000 back then.
Maybe so, and now they're in the ballpark of like 4, give or take. So they've doubled in price. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool they're reissuing that. They've done this red eye before.
Hey, if you're buying a red eye and you feel like you need to donate money,
yep, I know
you
a couple
come
guys.
find us.
Yep, I know a couple of guys. But yeah, I think it's cool they're redoing it again. He's put some wear on it. Have you seen this thing?
No.
So since he got it, he's put more wear on it. I think he's got more belt buckle rash on the back and all kinds of stuff he's done to it. Because he's touring with that.
So it's like relict?
Yeah.
Mm.
Which I think's cool, but it's just a little frustrating to me, to be honest with you.
Why can't they do it would be cool if they did like a production-ish model that was signature
Like they
for
done
like 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah, they done the greenie, right? That had the Epiphone version and all
Right.
that type of stuff. But a lot of these they're coming out with, they're just putting out the real expensive version and calling
Right.
it quits. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the market for it. $22,000.
It makes me sick to my stomach, like
It
that
kinda
people
does
are
me
doing
too.
that.
Yeah, it kind of does me too. I mean, more power to you, but like you said, the part that makes me kind of sick to my stomach is not the fact that it's $22,000, which is crazy, but it's just the fact that it's a new guitar for $22,000.
Right.
That's the part that I kind of like rack my brain about. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah. But I guess we won't.
Yeah, it's not for us. So you want to move to your main topic?
Yeah, so my main topic, it's really pretty simple, but I feel like it needs some attentions.
Okay.
Needs some attentions to the topic is, what is the most underrated pedal out there?
The most underrated pedal.
The most
out there.
underrated pedal that you can think of.
Well, it's not the Tube Screamer.
That's hyped up quite a bit.
It's not the Klon.
That's hyped up quite a bit.
Most underrated pedal. It's not the ODR anymore. I think there was a time period where it was.
Yeah, ODR was probably back in the day.
I think that was. I think probably that Mostortion whenever it was first coming out. TS10, all that type of stuff.
Right.
Boy, I'm going to have to think about this for a second. Do you have one on the top of your list?
All right, there's a couple that I feel like should get an honorable mention.
Okay.
And I'll start with that. And then the last one.
I should have studied for this test.
Yeah, you should have. So I feel like one that should be an honorable mention is the Super Overdrive from Boss.
That's a really good honorable mention. Yes. Yes, I completely agree.
It is a fantastic overdrive pedal that everyone forgets about.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, Zach Wild based his pedal off of it whenever he made the MXR. Now he's doing Wild Audio or whatever, which I think is still made by MXR. But, and there's been so many other players it's used other than him. He's just the first name that pops out of my head.
Right.
But, yeah, very underrated, great pedal.
But while a lot of hard rock guys use the Super Overdrive, you can use that with really any genre of music.
Yes, you can.
To push an amp, to make you sound like you got an overdriven amp. I mean, the Super Overdrive, super underrated pedal.
Mm-hmm.
See what I did there, Super?
It's super.
Okay. The next honorable mention, an EQ pedal. A Boss EQ.
Okay.
The GE7.
I think
One of the most underrated pedals of all time.
I think it's getting some attention these days.
It is because of Tim Pierce, all these session guys, really.
Yeah, I think it's getting some attention, which is kind of a bummer for me because it's been my sneaky little pedal for a long time. And you know how it is with guitar players. We want to have a pedal on our board that no one else really cares for, or no one else really is using.
Right.
But, yeah, that's a good honorable mention. I like that.
Yep. But the one that takes the cake, and this may be a little boring for some people, but it's got to be the tuner. Your tuner pedal is the most important. I played a gig this past week that if I didn't have a tuner pedal, I'd have been done for.
Yeah.
Seriously, my SG, that G string and that B string went out every single song.
What string?
The G and the B.
The G string.
The G and the B went out about every single song.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I know that has to do with some setup, has to do probably with stuff with the nut.
Humidity and all that stuff. Yeah.
But your tuner pedal is the most underrated pedal you will have on your board.
I'm not even going to think about other pedals because you're absolutely right. I started racking my brain about other underrated pedals, but now I don't even want to get into it because you are absolutely right.
And if we're talking about a specific one, you got to go to the Boss. The Boss tuner.
Yeah, TU3.
Yeah.
Which it is now. It used to be TU2 and all those different
That's
stuff.
got to be the most underrated.
It definitely does.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like a cop-out in some ways, but it really isn't. Between being able to tune, obviously, but also being able to just mute your signal, swap guitars. There's even the polytune now where you can tune all the different strings at the same time, which whenever I hit it and look at it, I just my eyes go crossed. Right. I can't figure it out.
It's like the Pearson strobe tuners.
Yeah.
Those things are fantastic.
Yep.
But man, they got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. I like the strobe tuners. But whenever I'm on a gig, sometimes I just need something that's just dummy-proof.
Yep.
So I'm a sucker for a dummy-proof tuner. And yes, it's absolutely the most underrated pedal on your pedal board. I think that probably Boss was the first company that put out a super popular tuner pedal. Everybody used Boss forever.
Ever, until the last 5, 7 years.
Till the Polytune.
Polytune, because it's so small. Especially the little mini.
Yeah, the mini's awesome. I've got that on my small board right now, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah. I just bought one of those Peterson minis. Got to try it, but I'm super excited.
So is it the top mount jacks?
Yep.
Yeah. But the side is where it plugs into the power, right?
I don't remember.
I think the side it plugs in power, but that's such a small little plug.
Yeah.
No big deal. I'm curious to see what you think of that because I think that would save me a little bit of space.
I think the top is the plug, but the side is where you do the selectable screens.
Oh, okay. You gonna put a cool screen on there?
I'm just going to do something that catches my eye. I don't need nothing crazy.
Is that the one where you can change what's on your screen?
The color and everything.
Yeah. Okay. And then Walrus does something like that too, right?
I don't know.
I think Walrus makes one where you can actually put a screensaver on the front.
I heard that Seal does something cool too.
That what?
Yeah, Walrus and Seal.
Oh my gosh, that was so bad. It was so bad I didn't even catch it.
That joke was funnier in theory.
That joke.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Most underrated pedal, the tuner.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, I started thinking about other pedals that's out there. If I start thinking about drive pedals and things, I think there's probably a case for multiple different pedals in different categories, overdrive pedals and modulation pedals and stuff. But yeah, most underrated pedal on your pedal board, absolutely your tuner. I can't do the headstock tuner thing. I can't do it.
For an acoustic.
For an acoustic gig, it's okay, but I still want to unplug it because my acoustics are
You mean unattach it, not unplug it. The headstock tuner.
No, I'm talking about I want to unplug the cable from the guitar.
Oh, gotcha.
Because, all my acoustics...
Oh, mute your signal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'm on a different wavelength.
He's finally with us, folks.
Different wavelength.
So, because my acoustics are all active, So they take the 9-volt battery. If I leave them plugged in, I'm going to be draining my battery.
Oh, okay.
And I'm bad about just setting my acoustic down and leaving it plugged in if I don't have a tuner pedal there. But if I've got a tuner pedal there, it's just natural instinct at this point to step on that thing, unplug the cable, and set it down. So for me, it's even a necessity on acoustic gigs. But yeah, I think the TU3 is an amazing tuner. I'm a sucker for the Polytune. I'm curious to see what you think of that, Peterson.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, let me move to my gas or pass then.
Okay.
So my gas or pass is the Marshall JCM 2000. This is a weird one for us.
This is a throwback.
This is a throwback, and this is a weird one for us. But I kind of fell upon some of these on Reverb the other day.
Okay.
I didn't fall on them. I wasn't walking through Reverb and tripped and fell on them.
Oh
my
found
gosh.
this.
But I was just scanning through like recently added, because I do that sometimes.
Sure.
And
As one does.
as we all do. And ran into a JCM 2000. It's the dual. That's the only one I would want. They make a TSL or a DSL version. The DSL is the one I would want that's only got 2 channels. TSL's 3 channels.
Hold up. I thought DSL always stood for digital, and T always stood for tube. I think I'm right.
Maybe you're right. Wasn't the JCM 2000 TSL? Wasn't it TSL?
Yeah, TSL. I thought it was tube and then digital.
No, that dual one's definitely tube. Maybe it's not called DSL then. Anyway, it's the dual. It's the 2-channel version of the JCM 2000.
Okay.
So they've got the heads out there. They don't make those anymore. They've got the DSL versions of the new heads they're making now, which are all tube. So that can't be right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time, and I just started playing guitar when those came out.
Yeah. So it's the previous iteration, basically, of the DSLs. So they made them in a 3-channel version and a 2-channel version. They're 100 watts. I mean, they've been played by everyone under the sun. They are like the epitome of backline Marshalls, basically.
Right.
You would get 900s or you would get JCM 2000s back in the day. And everybody from Ace Frehley to, I mean, literally every rock player out there. But they are on the market now for in the ballpark of like $700 to $750
That's really not bad.
for a 100-watt Marshall head. 2 channels, master volume. I mean, it's got all the things. I'm not saying that
the clean channel, not that great.
Not that great. No.
Not that great.
No. I haven't played one in a little while. I remember specifically playing a 212 version of one. It was the 3-channel version that was really good. And then I played the 2-channel version in a head and cabinet one time that was really good too. There were some quirks with it. A little funky, I think. You had to like get used to some of the settings. But for what it was really good. This would be a great backup head to have laying around.
That sucker is huge.
I know it's huge, but like your Bassman, when you take your Bassman out somewhere and you need a backup, rather than taking a combo amp and having to mic it and change up your cabinet and do all kinds of different stuff, you could have this in your car, and if your head goes stack it on top or lay it behind, do whatever you want to do, and if something goes out, you could literally set it up there and switch the cable over and flip it on and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So is this a gas or pass for you? Is this something that you're interested in whatsoever?
No. I don't want one at all. And the reason for it is if I'm looking at something like that would be a gainy amp to, replace the Bassman or whatever, the first place I'm looking is an OR 50 or 30.
Okay.
I'm saying forget the Marshall DSL, TSL, whatever it is. I would look at Orange before Marshall. It's a simpler layout. And if I need a backup, I need something simple, quick on the fly.
Okay.
So I would go Orange. And they also have easy graphics. So, and their knobs are easy because they're huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, it just makes more sense to go Orange. For me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I've never been like, let's plug into a plexi type of guy. Like, I've just never been that way. So I would go Orange before I went with Marshall in this scenario.
Okay.
And also, it's like closer to the same price point. Orange probably a bit more expensive, but that being said, to me, for the simplicity of it, it's worth the extra price point.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. I wouldn't go with orange, me personally. There's something about the fizziness of some of the orange stuff I get sometimes that is not my cup of tea. I would definitely much rather go Marshall. Is this a gas or pass for me? I think right now it's probably a pass because I'm not using something like that. However, if I was playing in a gig where I'm using a head and cabinet all the time and my main head was a Marshall, this would be a complete gas for me. I wouldn't want a 900. I wouldn't want an 800.
What about a studio?
You got to crank it up. I think a studio is a great option, but if
or a Silver Jubilee.
I'm playing a 50-watt head though, I'm gonna want something similar to be able to run with it. And I think a 100-watt with a master volume, 2 channels.
That's fair.
It's way too easy.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
Something that'll beat that out.
Silver Jubilee is a great idea too, but the Silver Jubilees can be way more expensive, and to use it for a backup kind of seems like a waste.
Yeah, that's fair.
So for me, I would give it a pass right now, but I think for anybody that's out there playing a Marshall head or even a 100-watt head or 50-watt head that needs a backup, that is a unbelievable price
Well, and
for
I just
a great
think about
backup.
like, 2000s rock music. You think of like the Darkness and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
That's what they used a lot.
That's what they were using
I
a
think
lot.
they're using plexis too, but you just think of that type of Sum 41 stuff like that. That would be perfect.
Yeah, for backup for like Airborne. Remember that band
Yeah.
that played?
Yeah,
Their backline.
that band that played.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did play.
I started going to more of that band that played, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Their backline all the time was JCM 2000 stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a great option for people. I just don't think it's for me right now, so I'd give it a pass.
Yeah.
But it's a definite gas for somebody out there.
Right.
But anyway, you want to go ahead and move to your gas or pass?
Yep. My gas or pass, actually, I think I remember it, is something that is a tool, and while no one probably necessarily wants to buy one, it would come in handy.
Okay.
And I've been looking at them quite a bit lately. It is a UA aux box. So, about $12.99 new. It's an attenuator, and it also has a speaker simulator, has outs. Not XLR, but I think there is an XLR jack, but I don't think it's an out necessarily.
Right.
But I've heard some mixed bag reviews on it because I've heard maybe you don't plug an old amp in there, but any modern amp, it's fine. I've heard that it is a fantastic attenuator. It's great for sending your signal to the mains. Thinking about my Tweed, it would be a great attenuator for that, and I could send it to the mains, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. So I've been looking at the aux box, but that's $12.99 for something that I really just don't want to buy.
Yeah, you don't want to buy it because it's a tool, right? And it's
boring.
It doesn't make any sound.
Yeah, it's boring.
It actually makes less sound.
Exactly.
So, okay, yeah, I'm with you on this aux box. So, whenever I have looked at that in the past, which I definitely have looked at in the past, there's a few other ones that pop up, right? So, Fryette Power Station is one that pops up in my head.
The Boss,
Waza,
yeah, something or other.
Power thingamajigger.
Reamplification type of thing.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. It's out there. I've actually heard recently that some people's had some problems with it.
Some people's
had some problems. But they're turning that resonance knob all the way up.
Okay.
And apparently when you turn that resonance knob up, it kind of changes like the ohmage rating
Yeah.
for the whatever it's called.
But that's all
sound
hearsay.
receiver.
We don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it is hearsay at this point, but I would check into it because honestly, I've heard it can cause some problems. If you leave the resonance all the way down, apparently there's no problems whatsoever. But if you start cranking that resonance way up, it changes it. You can have a mismatch of like a few ohms. So you can go from like 16 ohms to like 8 ohms.
Right.
But you can't go from like 16 ohms to like 4. Anyway.
Aux box.
Aux. For me,
Because it's strong like ox.
He's strong as an ox. I know what he can handle.
I think for me, it's going to be a pass on the Xbox. There's just other options out there that I would be more interested in personally. I even like the hot plate, the old school hot plates.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have some of the same things that are out there, but they're way cheaper and they've been proven to work really well. The one thing that sucks about the hot plates is you have to get the right ohms for your amp. If you have a 16 ohm head, you have to get a 16 ohm hot plate, and you can't change. And I think if I was going to get one of those attenuators, I think I would probably end up getting a Fryette power station.
Yeah.
So the Xbox is awesome. I've heard great things about it.
So many studio guys swear by him.
Everybody's swearing by it, but I think if I had to pull the trigger today and somebody's like, you got to buy one right now, I would buy a Fryette power station.
So it's a pass.
It's a pass for me.
Okay. I'm still debating it. I just, it's one of those things, I have a hard time paying for something that doesn't make a sound.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's one of those tools you got to have, in certain places.
Yeah.
And
if I can get away with not having it, that's what I'm going to do.
There you go. Well, hopefully you can.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So I will move into my main topic. And I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
Hypothetical question.
Okay.
Okay. So you're not really doing this. This isn't about what you've done in the past. But I'm saying hypothetically, if you had to pick a pedal platform amp right now, what would you pick? For the gigs you're playing now,
for the gigs I'm playing,
for at home, what you're playing, all that type of stuff, you got to pick a pedal platform amp. What are you going to pick?
Okay. So let me lay this out because the viewers need to know what I'm playing.
Okay.
So I play in a band that plays mostly 90s, 80s, 70s classic rock. We play some newer country, which, let's be honest, a lot of those sounds are similar. We also play, I said the 90s rock, so it can get a little in the grunge world, but not really.
Okay.
So think like Zombie, that song. You know what I mean? So, that's the type of music I play. So it's rock mostly. You said pedal platform, right?
Pedal platform amp.
Is that, I'm trying to think. The songs that I'm playing, songs that I am playing, they're a little harder rock than I normally play.
Right.
So if I had to start from ground zero and just did pedals, I think I would go with like a JTM Studio.
Okay. That surprises me by quite a bit. Why would you do that? Why?
Either that or like an orange, like OR30 or orange OR15.
Okay.
Because the songs that I'm playing, they have a little gain, just like even as a clean. Like think bass tone, you're gonna get close to AC/DC. First album.
Okay.
So not Back in Black.
Right.
But first album AC/DC, that's like clean. And then from there, I could stack pedals on top. So I'm not playing super clean music. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like none of it is super clean right now. If I was playing a little cleaner music, I'd probably go deluxe reissue. It's hard to go wrong with a 1x12, clean platform. But I think if I am starting out right now, clean platform, I'd say JTM Studio.
Yeah, and would you have it with the 212 cab, something like that?
Yeah, not a 412 for sure. Yeah. Something real simple. I might even think about like a 112 creamback.
Yeah, would you worry about it being loud enough to keep up in the mix?
No.
Okay.
It's going to be loud enough.
Stuff you're playing now, it'll cover all the ground you need.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah, so I think that's a great choice. So I think I would probably lead more.
So what kind of stuff do you play first?
Yeah, well, right now I'm going to be playing out with mainly like, it's going to be similar realm. It's going to be with an acoustic player. So it's going to be an electric and an acoustic duo. It's going to be doing a lot of the 80s and 90s kind of like rock stuff, a little bit of country stuff and folk stuff in there. Kind of not a million miles from what you're doing.
Okay.
But it's a lot of gigs where it's just an acoustic and just an electric player.
Okay.
So a lot of accompaniment playing.
Uh-huh.
So the stuff that would be harder rock, a little bit more overdrive, is going to be cleaner because of that.
Sure.
So whenever I think about doing that type of stuff, it doesn't need to be real loud. It needs to be pretty clean with like light overdrive stuff. I'm honestly probably going to look at my deluxe reverb, the reissue. It takes pedals fantastic. The only concern I have with it is there is no master volume. So I'm stuck with whatever volume I'm at.
Sure, I would be with the JTM too.
But I'm not playing anywhere where I need to get up super loud. So that's not the biggest issue. My biggest concern with volume would be being too loud, too quick, and not being able to open the amp up.
Sure.
But I think that it would work out really well as a pedal platform amp. And I think that's probably what I would stick to. I think that it's hard to beat that. I would consider a Blues Junior.
Okay.
I think a Blues Junior would be a great choice because it's a small enough gig that I could get by with that.
Right.
And you can always mic if you need to mic something. And I don't want to carry around a Hot Rod Deluxe. That's the other thing that kind of pops in my head.
Right.
You know, my stuff's going to be much cleaner than what you're looking at doing. So anything Marshall or Orange or anything like that's just not going to work. And I guess you could always consider Vox stuff. People swear that Vox stuff is not real pedal board friendly as like a pedal platform amp.
It's just different. It's friendly.
Yeah, you've got a Vox AC15 head and cab. And do you feel that that's the case?
Okay, so it takes pedals completely fine. But I will say, if you're trying to use the same pedals with your Deluxe or Marshall, it's just a different category. Like, I think people say, yeah, it's not pedal friendly. Well, you're probably also playing, maybe the cut knob is like positioned totally different, or maybe you're trying to use the same exact pedals for another amp for this one. It's just going to be a different EQ structure, so it takes pedals fine. It just, you can't use the same ones.
You got to know what pedals you're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, now that the new ones have master volumes, that's going to make it a lot more friendly with that type of stuff. But yeah, I think I would go into a deluxe reverb because that's going to work for me. But man, a JTM Studio would be a great head too. So yeah, I think that's it for this week. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, see you soon.